carrots, cows, and soil. What do all these have in common? They all stem from agriculture. But is agriculture as green as we think?
I'm Roger Rhodri Reginald from the television, and I'm here to talk to you about the hidden lies of agriculture. When we look at a potato, we think, wow, this potato is so green and good for my health and the environment. But you're wrong. Agriculture accounts for about 10.6% of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States alone. All that for the supposed green foods you eat. How could this be, you might ask? Isn't it as simple as just tilling the ground and growing a potato? To that I say, no! And here's what actually happens. I'm here at Kevin's Spuds and Tats Incorporated with one of the workers, Jim. So, Jim, how does Kevin's make their potatoes?
Well, Roger, if I'm going to be honest, it isn't that clean. We use these diesel-powered tractors to do most of the work. We use them to till the soil, then we plant the potatoes, and we use the tractors again to spray the soil with chemicals and pesticides. We don't want those damned vermin ruining the production.
Wait, so these tractors you use are diesel-powered?
Yup, every one of them. You should see the amount of carbon dioxide coming out of them. You might think it's a foggy day.
But then why is Kevin's marketed as carbon-free?
Great question. We actually use a neat trick called carbon offsetting.
And what exactly is carbon offsetting?
So, you know how we produce a lot of carbon from our tractors, but we don't want people to know about it. So we buy carbon credits from the projects that are actually helping the environment. Kevin himself likes to call these credits the permits to pollute.
So you're just lying to your customers?
I wouldn't say lying, but rather, how would you call it? Masking the truth with money.
That seems incredibly messed up, but continue.
After spraying the chemicals, we go out and water all the plants with the tractors again. The only issue is that the local river is polluted by our chemicals, so we need to source our water from somewhere else. But other than that, we just keep repeating the process until they are fully grown.
I see. Don't you feel bad for polluting the river?
Not really. It actually gives us more business since the local villages don't have clean water to grow food, and we've killed all their fish with our chemicals. Kevin is such a genius.
This seems highly illegal.
It probably is, but the government isn't doing anything about it.
So what happens after the potatoes are fully grown?
This is where the job gets tricky. Okay, we first harvest all the potatoes by hand, and then we chuck them in the industrial washer to send them over for inspection.
So none of you care about these carbon emissions?
Yup, but we avoid this by saying we have a net zero commitment.
Then why isn't Kevin's cutting on their carbon emissions?
We don't actually have to cut our emissions. Rather, we just say we're going to offset them through projects that focus on removing carbon from the atmosphere, such as planting trees and conserving forests. We don't have enough land to plant all those trees, and we don't have to because the people just believe it and move on.
Well, thanks for your time, Jim.
Anytime, Roger.
We head over to the University of Sustainable Agriculture to talk to Joseph about sustainable agriculture practices. So, Joseph, what could farmers around the world do to make agriculture more sustainable and green?
Well,
Roger, multiple practices can be done to make agriculture more sustainable. Some of these practices include crop rotations, agroforestry, and cover cropping.
And how do these methods exactly work?
Crop rotation is the practice of changing the crops planted on the same plot to improve soil health. When a farmer continuously plants the same crops on a piece of soil, the soil isn't able to gain the nutrients absorbed by that specific crop back before another one of the same species is planted in the space. Basically, this means one type of plant, such as the potato, is sucking in all the nutrients needed to grow a potato, allowing the next potato to not be able to get all those nutrients. But if we rather replace that potato with a carrot, that carrot is now getting its own carrot nutrients, allowing the potato nutrients to come back. That's just some simple terms to explain how it works. Agroforestry is the intentional integration of trees and shrubs into crop and animal farming systems, creating a more diverse, healthy, and sustainable land use system. Nothing too special about it, that's about it. And finally, we have cover cropping. Cover cropping is the practice of planting crops to cover the soil, rather than for harvest, like potatoes. This is primarily used to prevent erosion, improve soil health, and increase water availability.
Wow! All these seem very beneficial to the soil and the environment.
Yes, you are correct. Using these methods would increase the richness of our soil and the quality of our crops.
Then why aren't most farms, such as Kevin's, using these methods?
You see, crop rotation and cover cropping both limit the amount of one specific crop that is produced. Agroforestry takes up space that could have been used to plant crops with trees and bushes. Since Kevin's is a potato farm, not producing enough potatoes would limit the amount of profit they make.
But surely the environment is more important than profits.
It normally would be, but our planet is currently in a food crisis. It wouldn't be unwise to produce fewer crops while we already have a shortage of food. Having a shortage of crops wouldn't only affect us, but it would also affect the lives of many animals too.
I see. So we can't make the agricultural industry more sustainable due to our current food shortage.
That's a sad truth, but this doesn't stop people like us at the University of Sustainable Agriculture from trying our best to make farming more sustainable.
That's it, folks. We've learned a lot about how farms such as Kevin's produce their crops. We learned how farming could be made more sustainable. And finally, we learned that sad truth that sustainable farming is improbable. I've been Roger Rhodri Reginald from the television, and I wish you all a great sustainable life.